Viewers, I hope you enjoyed the balloons. Mitch brought them in today.
You're welcome.
Assassin's Creed 3 sold a few copies.
How many, Damon?
A few 7 million copies.
What?
Okay.
7 million.
That is a big number.
I'm glad we had the same reaction.
Ubisoft says it's the fastest selling game in the company's history.
Aren't they always?
I mean, what?
I feel like that's what we hear every time there's like.
It's because that
anytime
franchise
anything sells.
7 million is a lot.
I'm not saying it's not true. That's ridiculous. That's huge.
Let's for a little comparison, PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale.
I've heard of that, I think.
Was a very popular game on IGN all throughout this year, just like Assassin's Creed 3 was. That Sony will not release exact numbers.
It didn't even chart.
We're talking sub 200,000 copies
that's bad.
worldwide.
Hotline Miami sold 130,000 copies.
Buy Hotline Miami. It's so good.
Yeah. It's also not $60 to be fair.
No,
that's true.
Yeah, the Assassin's Creed games just keep getting bigger and bigger. Everyone knew this one was going to be huge because it brings things to America. And not that people, are like, I was super interested in Renaissance Italy, right?
We brought this thing to America.
Yeah, it's true. And it's working out well. 7 million Mitches on the way.
Yeah, it's surprising. I guess, it's a very big franchise. Sequels always sell,
I mean, my thing is, again, since this does brings thing to America now, like we kind of.
Oh no!
I also wanted to cross my legs. There we go. We're good. Everything's fine.
We knew this one was going to be huge over here for that reason, like the American Revolution. That's really interesting. There's been lots and lots of rumors. We hear about Assassin's Creed in Brazil, Assassin's Creed in Japan. Would those games sell as well?
Well, the other thing that's interesting about this is that none of us are that crazy about Assassin's Creed 3.
Yeah, none of the people in this room, obviously plenty of people love that game.
But this room and
there was enthusiasm in this room.
Our colleagues, in the industry.
I don't know one person that can tell me that they absolutely love that game right up until the ending and everything. Most people are like, I had some fun with it, but then it totally fell apart.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't get 7s and it didn't get 10s.
It's not really on any Game of the Year lists.
That's the thing.
It's not on any Game of the Year lists.
That kind of blows my mind. Like, that is not at all what I expected. Because having seen that game at E3, we were all blown away. We're like, holy crap.
Yeah.
This looks incredible.
Did we name it Game of the Show? I don't remember.
No,
we did not.
Tomb Raider.
Tomb Raider. Right, but Assassin's Creed was definitely in that conversation.
It definitely got nominations for Best Action Game and Best, platform, 360 and PS3 and stuff like that. But yeah, when it came down to discussions for Game of the Year, no one said anything, not even for soundtrack or anything like that. It didn't even fall into some weird category.
The soundtrack was disappointing, man.
Even the soundtrack was disappointing.
Ubisoft just put out another game recently with 3 in the title. And it's so much better. Far Cry 3 is so awesome.
How crazy is it that people don't care about Far Cry until Far Cry comes out, and it's like, what is this game? Yeah.
Mitch is so happy.
Me too. I've never been more excited to see people in our office as thrilled with a game as they are with this.
You realize that I said Mitch is so happy, and you said me too?
That's pretty cool.
There are 7 million Mitches.
Just because I know you're like the world's biggest Far Cry 2 fan, and that game people love to hate on Far Cry 2. And now it's like everyone, you're like, yes, welcome, brothers.
Well, because now, Far Cry 3 fixes so much of what Far Cry 2 did wrong.
I did not like Far Cry 2 at all, and I love Far Cry 3. So if you were in a position where you didn't like 2,
I've been going, every night for the past week, I've been going home and just playing Far Cry 3 all night.
Making wallets?
Yeah. So great. And then you're like, oh, I need to get one more shark skin.
I gotta find a taper.
All right, shark.
Need to go find a goat.
Yeah.
I could skin a goat.
My big thing was I couldn't find tapers for a long time.
There's like one spot in the whole world where tapers exist.
Moving on. We've also spotted a listing on Amazon for an Hitman Trilogy HD. Now, there was a Hitman Trilogy released back in 2007. It was not an HD, though. So this one looks like it'll include Hitman Contracts, Hitman 2 Silent Assassin, and Hitman Blood Money. Interesting thing about that, Hitman Blood Money was already released on Xbox 360 as a current-gen game. It's already in HD.
Correct.
But, oh well.
It's interesting that we're...
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I just think it's weird that they'd be
That's
like...
That's odd. The end.
Well, it probably says for the first time in HD mostly on the box,
For two out of three HD.
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Yep, that's true.
Yeah, this is the first time we've seen contracts in this collection too, I think, because when they released the last collection, for some, I think it was maybe like a publishing thing, contracts wasn't released in that HD bundle.
No, doesn't contracts include most of the original Hitman? Isn't that how it works?
Maybe?
I don't know.
That's how I understand, but
HD collections are very strange to me because a lot of times they dress them up and they look very pretty, but they obviously still play like very archaic games.
Yeah, it's like you go back, you're like, Jack and Daxter, then you're like, oh.
Yeah, you're like,
remember
oh,
when this was the
man,
best one?
The save system screwed up, or like,
Yeah.
the level progression's borked, or the camera's a mess, but everything's pretty and shiny now.
Not as fun as I remember.
Yeah.
I'm playing through Vice City on iOS right now. That game is only 10 years old. Like, that's it. It came out 10 years ago. And, like, there is, like, I mean, the game's fun. It's a totally great port. But the actual game itself, like, I can't believe that 10 years ago we're like, oh, man, they nailed 80s Miami.
Yep.
The atmosphere is so perfect. Like, it's this boxy, empty city. Like,
Stuff is pink, I guess.
yeah.
All the mission designs like, tail this car for 3 days. And you're like, all right.
And then you
And
fail.
10 years later,
you
you're
just-
doing that in Assassin's Creed
Yeah.
3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why that still happens. 7 million copies.
So Hitman Trilogy HD is on Amazon. They have box art. There's a release date, January 29th, 2013, and there's a price of $40. But Square Enix has not announced it.
They should-
IGN reaches out to Square Enix for confirmation. They give us that line, we cannot comment on rumor and speculation.
Speculation. It's on the internet. It's for sale. I
Okay.
can buy it.
Yeah, I could pre-order this right now, and you're going to say to me it's a rumor that this is coming? Come on.
It'll arrive at my doorstep and they'll announce
Yeah.
it.
It's true.
The other thing I want to talk about today is this interesting company where I'm hearing about called Green Throttle. I know, I've talked to Justin about it. Have you guys heard about Green
I'm
Throttle?
unfamiliar.
You are aware of Ouya,
Yes.
right? This console.
Ouya.
Supposed to come out next year.
How's their boot up noise?
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it really?
You guys didn't hear that?
Wait.
Oh, it's really funny. We'll
Okay.
have to play it after this.
It's kind of like the Sega. It's just like some dude going, ooh yeah.
It's like,
It
yeah.
sounds like the Crash Bandicoot guy.
And it's
Yeah,
a real
it
thing?
does. That's,
And it's a real thing?
yeah, that's their boot up noise.
Okay.
Really?
Anyway.
Yeah.
I believe you. I mean, I'm just surprised.
Yeah.
It's fine, Brian. We'll never know what that sounds like.
Well, can we? I'm gonna have the best boot up noise GameCube. I'm gonna go ahead and say it.
It's so cheerful.
It's like
it's just
like,
so.
like a wooden, the little wooden blocks.
Yeah.
And it
Oh,
goes
yeah.
vroom.
And you can change it.
If
every
you
time
hold the
you
button,
yeah.
it sounds even more baby.
Hold R to baby.
So, Green Throttle's idea is sort of like Ouya, except their idea is that you already have a console in your pocket with your phone. So what they're going to do is sell hardware in the form of a controller and a TV adapter, and then there's an app for your phone. So you just plug your phone into your TV, and then you boot up their app, and then that's your like
And you have a
console
console.
experience.
So-
Cool idea.
Pause.
yeah.
I need 3 things to play my iPhone games, which I can just do. Like I,
Oh, yes, but their idea is that this is a small screen. It's
Okay.
a personal experience.
Yeah.
The devices
How
are
can we-
really powerful now.
Yeah.
Sure.
This thing is this Android only or iPhone?
Android is what I've heard so far.
Okay, but I mean the iPad 3 and iPad 4, the screen resolution on those is higher than an HD television.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you have a HD out and then you have a controller in your hand, your device basically is a game console at that point, if there's games that support it.
Acceptable.
That's Green Throttle's idea. So the controller pairs with your phone via Bluetooth, and then you plug your phone into your TV to have.
And the controller is this. Looks just like an Xbox controller, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Right down to the colors.
Yeah.
The color scheme, the offset, the analog sticks.
See, Mitch, you say you need 3 things for this, but the way I see it, and they probably see it, is that you already have 2 out of 3 of those things.
Yeah.
The
all you
phone and
really-
the TV.
Yeah.
I mean,
Then I need the controller, the app, and wasn't there another thing?
Well, the connector.
The
yeah,
connector.
I'm
but
sure
it comes
that'll-
with it.
it'll
Yeah.
come with it.
And I looked on their website. It's like $45 for the everything you need to get going.
Yeah.
It's a cool idea. It's just like any other console. The games need to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like yeah.
Like there are good console quality mobile games, but they don't just work with a controller out of the box. Like they really need to work hard to get AAA companies on board. Like I played Final Fantasy Dimensions, for example, and that would be a no-brainer if they were to work out D-pad support in that game. Like,
Personally, like the kind of mobile games I like, and I love mobile gaming, but I love mobile gaming for the stuff that other platforms can't do. Something like Super Hexagon, which obviously is on PC now, so
Yeah,
it's
that's
kind
a
of
bad
self-defeating. But I mean, that's how I experienced that first. Was I was sitting on the train in the morning just playing Super Hexagon and on the plane and stuff like that. Things that are unique to mobile, or at least feel kind of unique to mobile that I wouldn't get on my 360. Turning it into a home console is not how I want to experience those games.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I'm inclined to agree. I reviewed Modern Combat 4. That game looks great. It's fully voice acted. The campaign feels like Call of Duty. It's got free online multiplayer. That game sucks. Well, it doesn't suck. I gave it a. It's okay. I gave it a. I don't
That's
know
like
what,
the 4th bullet point on the box.
I gave it a positive review because Gameloft did the best that they could with a touchscreen.
Yeah.
But I'm tired of seeing these games that just take what works on a console and throw it on mobile. Like, you
Right,
need to
like
build
at that
stuff
point,
from the ground
why
up
am I
for mobile.
why am I not just playing Call of Duty?
But that game, like games like that, are perfect. Like that's what this, they need
Sure,
to get in touch
yeah.
with Gameloft. Right?
Sure,
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, so go ahead.
I was gonna say the other big thing is we already have devices like this. Like this is the Moga controller. Our tech editor Nick Vargas gave it a 7.9. This is an Android controller, and
Show the cradle.
yeah, the cradle part I think is a little bit janky. Like it's got this cradle that flips out, and you put your device in here, and then it's a controller. It pairs via Bluetooth. It's got 2 analog controls.
It's pretty comfy too.
Yeah, it's pretty comfy.
Despite being tiny, but
the Moga's really slick, and so these guys are doing something a little bit different with like the TV out and trying to make your mobile hardware a true console. But like we're getting closer and closer to like a really solid, really great controls. Digital controls for mobile games already. So
yeah. I mean, I think like the real game changer would be if Apple themselves
This is it.
were
right?
just like, this is our controller. It's optional. It works with every game on our store. We make that mandatory for people coding games for our platform.
yeah.
I mean, it would obviously not retroactively work with the 14 billion apps on there already.
But I also kind of have a problem with that because some games that are built with touch in mind are like super fun and wouldn't work with like other controls.
Keep the touch. Like that interface is not going away. This is
you
only,
said they have to use a controller.
well, I mean, it's an optional
It's an
thing.
option.
Like if you
Something
have
to-
something like Modern Combat,
Yeah.
you can play with touch controls if you're stupid, or you can play with this thing.
Well, I mean, if it's Apple's,
idiots!
Like cut the rope, yes.
Yeah,
Keep
exactly.
it the way it is. You
Like,
know,
the
like that
big-
doesn't need dual analog joystick support.
the big problem with any controller is getting the software to support it.
Right.
Like on mobile, just like any hardware, the big problem with the Wii U is getting developers on board,
Sure.
right? And so if it were an Apple product, look, this is going to be in all the Apple stores. We're going to push it hard. We're going to announce it at our press conference. Like, there'd be no problem getting developers.
I honestly
on board.
think the biggest barrier here is like Apple's pride itself.
Yep.
In them saying, we have this one-touch interface that it's everything you'll ever need to do anything. You can browse the web, you can send emails, you can get photos, you can play every game in the world. And they have to be like, and here's 16 more buttons for it, plus some joysticks. That's like, it's a pride thing that I don't think I see them stepping away from. Because all of their advertising and branding is about the simplicity of this white dude's finger
Minimalism,
going in
yeah.
and going over a nice shiny screen and everything working perfectly. And now they're like, oh, and it also plays, Halo and all this other shit. But that's a matter of them just going, we're tucking your tail a little bit in this one. Here, now we're going to take over the world of video games.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all they have to do.
I don't know. I'm of two minds. Like sometimes I'm like, Apple, you're so stupid. Release a controller. Like you would crush the Game Boy and crush all this stuff. But on the other hand, they're
Finally, the Game Boy is going down.
But like they're already doing that, right? Like they're already winning.
A little bit.
That from their perspective, why in the world would they release some device that there's 100 million iPads out there, and how many people want the controller? Like I would love it. I would absolutely die to get my hands on one. But like, how big is that audience versus how many people have iPod Touches and iPads? Like.